On March the 1st, President Putin announced a new generation of weapons vastly superior to anything developed around the world.
У России такое оружие есть.
A hypersonic system, an ICBM with unlimited range, weapons that can fly through dense layers of the atmosphere, a nuclear-powered cruise missile, underwater drones, a unique combat laser complex. That got everyone talking about an arms race and that deadly Russian missile. But from Russia's point of view, it's the one that feels threatened and wants to restore nuclear parity. So how does that work? And what did Putin mean when he said,
Нас никто не слушал. Послушайте сейчас.
To be clear, nuclear parity came as a result of an arms race. It was provoked by the first and so far only nuclear strike in history, when the US dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. Estimates put the total number of casualties at up to 450,000. By 1949, the USSR had its own nuclear weapon ready. By 1952, the US tested the first thermonuclear device. A year later, the Soviet Union followed suit. Both sides began to develop ballistic missiles in an attempt to get ahead of each other. The US installed nuclear weapons in Turkey, and the USSR put missiles in Cuba. It was followed by the Cuban crisis, which saw the world teeter on the brink of nuclear war, until Moscow and Washington realized there could be no winners. That's when the period of détente came about. By the early 1990s, it seemed the tension between the two countries was over. It was a time of promises, although some would prove empty over time. NATO famously promised Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev that it would not move an inch to the east.
Даже такие были выражения, как это было у Бейкера, госсекретаря, что мы и на 10 сантиметров не двинемся в интересах НАТО или что-то.
Recently declassified documents on the 1990 negotiations proved Russia's account is accurate.
If we maintain a presence in a Germany that is part of NATO, there would be no extension of NATO's jurisdiction for forces of NATO 1 inch to the east.
There would be no effort to exclude anyone, and there would be no step taken at this time to push anyone ahead of others.
In 1994, the US changed its mind about expanding east.
We're going to move forward on this, but I'd never spring this on you.
But over the past 18 years, NATO's been joined by Hungary, Poland, the Czech Republic, Bulgaria, Romania, Slovakia, Albania, Croatia, Montenegro, as well as the former Soviet republics of Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. NATO is now at Russia's doorstep. Here is an online meme on how Russia moved its country too close to NATO's military bases. Furthermore, the US moved its missile defenses closer to Russia's borders, another promise broken by Washington. In 2002, the US pulled out of the ABM treaty signed decades before when the Soviet Union was still in place. What is missile defense? It enables one party to launch its own missiles and intercept any counterstrike. It could guarantee victory in a potential war. Of course, NATO and the US say their missile defenses are not against Russia, but against Iran and North Korea. But the locations tell another story. Missile defense installations were placed in Poland, Romania, California, and Alaska. They're also planned for Japan and South Korea. Missile defense ships patrol the seas close to Russian territory.
Создаются системы, элементы систем противоракетной обороны, что нас очень беспокоит, и мы постоянно об этом говорим в течение 10 лет. Это разрушает стратегический баланс в мире.
The balance is disrupted, and Russia, which hasn't ramped up its missile defenses like the US, is facing a deadly danger.
Вы же все понимаете, о чем идет речь. Чего молчите-то? Вы все молчите. Ситуация усугубляется, ведь это подталкивает гонку вооружений, новый виток создает. Это же очевидная вещь. Вот мы все время думаем, а как ответить? Мы думаем, совершенствовать систему, значит, преодоления систем противоракетной обороны. Вот это и есть виток гонки вооружений.
Russia says it was forced to come up with a weapon capable of bypassing missile defenses in order to restore nuclear parity. The Kinjal MiG-31 can launch hypersonic missiles that can travel at more than 10 times the speed of sound. Thanks to that and their unpredictable trajectory, they are unstoppable. It's an unrivaled weapon. The US doesn't plan to test its hypersonic weapon until 2019. The Avangard hypersonic vehicle can fly at up to 20 times the speed of sound. An ICBM will take it to an altitude of several dozen kilometers, from where it can dive headfirst back to Earth at top speed with aircraft-like maneuverability, dodging any missile defenses. In contrast, when other existing ballistic missiles re-enter the atmosphere, they fly at a preset trajectory, making them easy targets for ABM systems. Sarmat might seem like an ordinary ICBM, but its range is much longer. The legendary Topol-M missiles can only take the shortest route through the ABM systems. Sarmat can travel via the North or the South Pole where there's no missile shield, and it will still hit its target. But most importantly, Sarmat is a heavy missile capable of carrying more than 20 warheads. That's 5 times more than previous generation missiles. The Burevestnik nuclear-powered cruise missile is a unique weapon. It's basically the same as an American Tomahawk. But whereas the Tomahawk's range is limited to 2,500 kilometers because of fuel constraints, Russia's new missile can fly indefinitely. It can take any path to avoid missile defenses. Just like Poseidon underwater drones. Similar to the regular drones we're used to, except these are submarine launched and travel at incredible speeds towards their targets under the sea. They run so deep that no equipment can track them. Even if detected, their high speed prevents them from being intercepted. The new weapons can work together to neutralize any existing missile defense systems. Kinjal can destroy ground-based ABM systems. Poseidon drones take care of those at sea. Then, the Sarmat, Avangard and cruise missiles can be launched towards their target, bypassing any remaining barriers. On top of that, there's also a combat laser complex, Peresvet, which is unique because it almost instantly delivers an energy beam to a target and has an unlimited battle reserve. Developing new weapons is not a belligerent move, rather a move to restore parity. Perhaps this time the call for a balance of force and fair treatment all round will be heard.
Нас никто не слушал. Послушайте сейчас.